Part 1. The pencil lay motionless on the desk, its yellow paint slightly faded, its edges smoothed by time. Dust had settled around it like a thin blanket, as if the world had forgotten it was there. Sunlight filtered through the window, touching the pencil for a brief moment before moving on, just like people always seem to do. If the pencil could feel loneliness, this was it. I was made to write, it thought quietly. So why am I always waiting? Around it were papers filled with words written by others, ink pens, markers, keyboards. The pencil felt outdated, replaceable. Every time someone passed the desk without picking it up, a small ache formed inside it. Not physical pain but something deeper. The pain of feeling unnecessary. One morning the silence broke. Hand reached toward the desk. The pencil felt a sudden rush of hope as fingers wrapped around its body. The grip was firm, warm, intentional. For a split second, excitement replaced doubt. This is it, the pencil thought. I finally get to do what I was created for. But instead of being placed on paper, the pencil was lifted and brought toward something unfamiliar. A sharp circular opening waited ahead. A sharpener. The first twist happened without warning. A scraping sound echoed, followed by pain so intense the pencil froze. Tiny pieces of itself were shaved away, falling to the ground like broken fragments of identity. "Stop!" the pencil cried out, panic flooding its thoughts. "Why are you hurting me? I haven't even failed yet." The hand didn't answer, simply kept turning. With every rotation, more of the pencil disappeared. Felt exposed, vulnerable, weaker than before. "I was fine the way I was," the pencil pleaded. "Why change me? Why take parts of me away?" Finally the motion stopped. The pencil was pulled out and set down again. Its tip was sharp now, precise, but the pain still lingered. For a moment the pencil felt betrayed. "I trusted you," it thought. "And you hurt me." Before it could process that feeling, the hand picked it up again and pressed it gently against a blank sheet of paper. As the hand moved, something extraordinary happened. Dark, clean lines appeared effortlessly. Letters formed. Words flowed. Thoughts that once lived silently in someone's mind were now visible, permanent, alive. The pencil forgot about the pain. "This is incredible," it whispered in disbelief. "I couldn't do this before." The realization came slowly, settling deep inside. The sharpening hadn't been cruelty. It had been preparation. Still, confusion remained. Days passed, and the pencil was used often. It wrote notes, solved problems, sketched ideas. Each time pressure guided it forward. Sometimes the pressure was gentle. Sometimes it was heavy, almost overwhelming. And sometimes mistakes happened. Wrong word. Crooked line. A sentence that didn't make sense. Each mistake was followed by the eraser. At first, the pencil felt shame wash over it as the eraser rubbed away its work. "I messed up," it thought. "I failed." The erasing felt humiliating, as if its efforts meant nothing. But when the eraser moved away, the page looked cleaner. Better. Ready again. The pencil hesitated, then asked the question it had been holding inside. "Why don't you throw me away?" it wondered quietly. "I keep making mistakes." The hand paused midair. In the silence, the pencil felt an answer, not spoken aloud but understood. "Because mistakes aren't the end," the unspoken voice said. "They're part of the process." Something shifted inside the pencil. It began to notice things it hadn't before. Every time it was sharpened, its writing improved. Every time it was erased, the final result became clearer. Every time it faced pressure, something meaningful appeared. But fear still crept in. One evening, after hours of use, the pencil glanced at its reflection on the desk's shiny surface. It looked shorter than before, worn. "I'm disappearing," it thought, a tremor of fear running through it. "Soon there will be nothing left of me." The hand held it again, slower this time. Gentler. You're not disappearing, the silence seemed to reply. You're being used for what you were made for. That night, when the room fell quiet again, the pencil rested on the desk and reflected. It realized something uncomfortable but true. Staying untouched meant staying unchanged. And staying unchanged meant never becoming more. The pencil understood now that purpose demanded sacrifice. That growth always cost something. That meaning wasn't found in staying perfect, but in allowing yourself to be shaped. As the light faded from the room, the pencil no longer feared the sharpener, the eraser, or the pressure. For the first time, it felt ready for whatever came next. Part 2. The next morning arrived quietly, the way meaningful moments often do. Sunlight crept back through the same window, landing once again on the desk where the pencil rested. But something was different now. The pencil no longer felt like an object waiting to be chosen. It felt like something that had already begun its journey. The hand returned, just as it always did. But this time the pencil didn't feel fear when it was lifted. There was hesitation, yes, but also a strange sense of readiness. The pencil had learned that nothing meaningful happened without pressure. As it touched the paper again, the pencil noticed how steady the hand felt. The movement was confident, intentional. Words flowed faster than before, and the pencil responded naturally, almost instinctively, as if it finally understood its role in the world. But understanding didn't mean comfort. Halfway through the page, the pressure increased. The hand pressed harder, pushing the pencil to move faster, to keep up with thoughts that seemed to rush ahead. The pencil strained under the weight. This is too much, it thought. I'm not strong enough for this. Then it felt it, the tip snapped. A sharp crack echoed softly across the desk. The pencil froze in shock. The beautiful, sharp point it had grown proud of was gone in an instant. No, no, please, the pencil panicked. I just found my purpose. I can't be broken now. It was set down abruptly, helpless, staring at the damaged tip. For a moment nothing happened. The pencil felt abandoned, useless again. This is what it comes to, it thought bitterly. One mistake, one moment of pressure, and I'm done. The hand returned. Without hesitation, it carried the pencil back to the sharpener. Fear surged through the pencil's core. Not again, it begged silently. I can't go through that pain again. The sharpener turned. Pain followed, familiar yet deeper this time. More of the pencil was shaved away. More of its body lost. Felt smaller, weaker, closer to the end. But something else was there too, clarity. As the sharpening ended and the pencil was lifted, it noticed something surprising. The new point was even cleaner than before. Stronger. More precise. When it touched the paper again, the lines were smoother. The movement felt controlled. The pencil wrote with confidence it hadn't known before. I survived, it realized. And I'm better for it. That day, the pencil noticed something new on the desk. A row of freshly opened pencils lay nearby. Long, untouched, their paint glossy and perfect. They looked impressive, full of potential. One of them glanced toward the worn pencil and spoke with a hint of arrogance. You look like you've been through a lot, the new pencil said. Why would anyone choose you over us? The worn pencil didn't answer right away. It remembered the sharpener, the break, the fear, the growth. Because I can do what you can't yet, it finally replied. I've been tested. The new pencils fell silent, unsure how to respond. As days turned into weeks, the pencil was chosen again and again. It wrote essays, calculations, lists, reminders. It helped someone prepare for exams, draft important letters, sketch ideas that would later become plans. With every use, it grew shorter. With every sharpening, it lost a piece of itself. And yet it felt fuller inside. One evening, the pencil noticed the hand shaking slightly. The writing slowed. The pressure felt heavy, uncertain. The pencil sensed emotion. The words being written weren't simple notes this time. They were raw, hesitant, uneven. Some were erased. Others were rewritten again and again. The pencil realized it wasn't just writing anymore. It was carrying someone's doubts, their fears, their unfinished thoughts. For the first time, the pencil felt something close to empathy. This hurts you too, it thought. You're not as steady as you pretend to be. As the eraser rubbed away yet another sentence, the pencil no longer felt ashamed. It understood now that rewriting was part of healing. When the writing finally stopped, the hand rested on the desk, fingers lingering on the pencil. The room was quiet but heavy. The pencil felt a strange honor settle within it. I'm trusted, it realized. Not because I'm perfect, but because I endure. Later that night, as the desk lamp clicked off and darkness filled the room, the pencil reflected on how far it had come. It once believed pain meant rejection. Now it understood pain meant involvement. It once feared being worn down. Now it saw that being worn down meant being useful. Still, one fear remained unspoken, tucked deep inside. What happens, the pencil wondered, when there's nothing left of me to sharpen? The question lingered in the darkness, unanswered. And somehow, the pencil sensed that the hardest lesson was still ahead. Part 3. The question stayed with the pencil through the night, echoing softly in the quiet darkness of the room. What happens when there's nothing left? It wasn't a question of fear anymore, but of meaning. The pencil had accepted pain, pressure, and loss. But it had not yet accepted the idea of an ending. Morning came again, slower this time. The pencil woke to the familiar creak of the chair and the soft rustle of papers. The hand reached for it without hesitation, as if there had never been any doubt. But today felt different. The desk was crowded with open notebooks, crossed-out pages, and half-written thoughts. The air itself seemed heavy, charged with urgency. The pencil could sense it before it touched the paper. This wasn't ordinary work. As the hand began to write, the pressure was uneven. Sometimes light, sometimes crushing. The pencil moved across the page, forming words that felt deeply personal. These weren't facts or calculations. These were confessions. I don't know if I'm good enough. The pencil paused as the sentence appeared. It felt the weight of those words settle into its core. The eraser hovered, then struck. The sentence vanished. Again the hand tried. What if I fail? Erase. The pencil began to understand. The person holding it was fighting a battle the pencil could not see, one happening entirely inside. The pencil wanted to speak. To say, "You're allowed to struggle." But it could only do what it was made to do. Stay present, stay steady, keep writing. Hours passed like this. Write, erase, rewrite. With each erasure, the pencil felt smaller, more worn. But instead of shame, it felt connection. This is what I'm here for, it realized. Not just to write words, but to stay when things get messy. At one point the hand stopped completely. The pencil was held still above the paper, suspended in silence. A drop fell. It landed just beside the pencil's tip, darkening the page. Here. The pencil felt something tighten inside. It had never been this close to human pain before. The hand trembled, then pressed the pencil down again. I will try, the words finally appeared. Simple, imperfect, honest. The pencil felt a strange warmth spread through its core. This sentence wasn't erased. As the day went on, the pencil noticed its reflection again. It was noticeably shorter now. Its paint chipped. Its eraser worn almost flat. You're almost done, a quiet voice inside whispered. For the first time, the pencil didn't flinch. That evening, something unusual happened. The hand placed the pencil down gently, not on the desk, but inside a small drawer. The space was dark, quiet, and unfamiliar. Inside there were others. Old pens with dried ink. A ruler cracked down the middle. A dull pair of scissors with loose joints. Tools that had been used. "Welcome," the ruler said softly, its voice steady. "You look like you've lived." The pencil hesitated. "Is this where things end?" The pen chuckled weakly. "No. This is where we rest." The pencil lay there, surrounded by objects that had served their purpose and paid their price. "Do you ever regret it?" the pencil asked. "Being used until there's less of you left?" The scissors shifted slightly. "We regret staying untouched longer than we should have." Silence followed, comfortable and understanding. The pencil rested there for a long time, thinking about the words it had written, the mistakes it had erased, the hands it had served. It realized something then, something profound. Its value had never been measured by how much of it remained. Its value had been measured by how much it had given. Late that night, the drawer opened again. The hand returned, reaching past newer tools and closing gently around the pencil. "There's more to do," the moment seemed to say. As the pencil was lifted back into the light, it felt tired, but ready. It no longer feared becoming shorter. It feared becoming unnecessary. And as long as it was still chosen, still trusted, still present, it knew it wasn't finished yet. Part 4. The pencil felt lighter in the hand now, not just in weight but in expectation. There was no panic left, no desperate need to prove anything. It had learned that worth didn't come from being new, or long, or perfect. It came from showing up again and again, even when there was less of you each time. The desk looked different today. Cleaner. Organized. The chaos of scattered pages was gone. In its place was a single notebook, opened carefully, waiting. The pencil sensed intention. As the hand began to write, the movement was slower, calmer. The pressure wasn't harsh anymore. It was deliberate, thoughtful. The pencil glided across the page, forming words that felt grounded, steady. These weren't words of doubt. They were plans. The pencil listened as the sentences took shape, each one building on the last. Goals. Decisions. Promises made quietly, without drama. "I will start. I will keep going. I will learn." The pencil felt a quiet pride. Not the loud kind that demands attention, but the deep kind that comes from knowing you've been part of something real. Still, the end was drawing closer. The pencil could feel it in its core. Each sharpening now took more than it gave. Each use left it shorter, closer to the metal ring that held what was left of its body together. One afternoon, the inevitable happened. The pencil was pressed down to write, and nothing appeared. No line. No mark. No sound. The hand tried again, harder this time. Still nothing. The pencil felt hollow. "This is it," it thought. "I've reached the end." The hand paused, then turned the pencil over and looked at the eraser. It was worn nearly smooth, stained with years of mistakes and second chances. Slowly the hand smiled. Instead of throwing the pencil away, the hand opened a drawer and pulled out a small blade. Carefully, gently, it trimmed away the wooden edges around the eraser, exposing a fresh surface. The pencil felt a strange sensation, relief mixed with humility. "I can still help," it realized. Just differently. From that day on, the pencil's role changed. It was no longer used to write long pages or sketch ideas. Instead, it erased, corrected, made space for better words. The pencil watched as newer pencils took its place on the page. Long, sharp, full of energy. Felt no jealousy, only understanding. "There at the beginning," it thought. "Just like I once was." One day, a young hand reached for the pencil. Smaller, unsteady. "Child." The pencil felt excitement again as it touched the page, helping guide shaky letters into something recognizable. The eraser worked constantly, wiping away backward letters and uneven lines. The child laughed instead of growing frustrated. The pencil felt something close to joy. It wasn't creating perfection anymore. It was supporting growth. That night, resting on the desk once more, the pencil reflected on the strange beauty of its journey. It had been sharp and precise. It had been broken and reshaped. It had carried doubt, tears, and hope. And now it was helping someone begin. The pencil understood now that becoming the best version of yourself didn't mean becoming the strongest, or the most impressive. It meant becoming whatever the moment required. And as it lay there, smaller than it had ever been, the pencil felt larger inside than it ever had before. Final part. The pencil rested quietly now, shorter than it had ever been, its paint chipped, its edges worn smooth by years of purpose. If someone unfamiliar had seen it, they might have thought it useless, almost finished, easily replaceable. But the pencil knew better. It had learned something the new pencils hadn't yet learned. That value isn't loud, and purpose doesn't need to announce itself. The desk was different these days. New notebooks appeared. Fresh pencils came and went. Pens clicked confidently. Life kept moving forward just as it always had. And still, every now and then, the hand reached for the old pencil. Not out of habit, out of trust. On one quiet evening, the room felt heavy with reflection. The hand hovered above a blank page for a long time, fingers tapping lightly, as if searching for the right place to begin. The pencil felt the familiar warmth when it was picked up. This might be the last time, it thought calmly. There was no fear in that realization, only gratitude. The hand pressed the pencil to the paper and began to write slowly. Not many words, just a few lines. The pencil moved carefully, aware that every stroke mattered now. This is who I am becoming. The sentence felt different from all the others that had come before it. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't erased. It didn't try to impress. Simply existed. The pencil felt something settle deep inside, peace. When the writing ended, the hand didn't immediately set the pencil down. Instead, it turned it gently between its fingers, noticing the worn body, the shortened length, the marks left by years of sharpening. A quiet smile appeared. "Thank you," the silence seemed to say. The pencil was placed carefully back into the drawer. Not tossed, not forgotten. This time, it rested beside the other tools, surrounded by quiet respect. Days passed. Then weeks. The pencil wasn't used as often anymore, but it didn't feel abandoned. It had learned that rest was not rejection. Rest was honor. One afternoon, the drawer opened suddenly. The pencil felt the light again. A different hand reached in, older than the child's, younger than the one before. Nervous, unsure. The pencil was placed on the desk beside a blank page. "I don't know where to start," the voice above whispered. The pencil felt a familiar ache, not of pain but of recognition. Had been here before. As the pencil touched the page, the writing was slow, uncertain. Letters hesitated. Words came and went. The eraser worked constantly, correcting, forgiving. And the pencil stayed. Stayed through the mistakes. Stayed through the pauses. Stayed through the doubt. By the end of the page, the writing wasn't perfect, but it was real. The pencil felt complete. Eventually, the day came when the pencil could no longer make a mark at all. No matter how gently it was pressed, no matter how carefully it was turned, the lead was gone. There was no sadness in that moment, only understanding. The pencil was placed back into the drawer one final time, wrapped gently in a small piece of cloth, as if to protect what little remained. Not of its body, but of its story. And there, in the quiet darkness, the pencil reflected on everything it had learned. That pain sharpens but doesn't destroy. That mistakes teach if you let them. That pressure reveals what's inside you. That being worn down isn't failure. It's evidence that you mattered. Most of all, it understood this truth. You don't become the best version of yourself by staying untouched. You become the best version of yourself by allowing life to shape you. The pencil didn't need to write anymore. Its message had already been delivered. And somewhere out there, a person who once doubted themselves now carried words of courage, plans of growth, and the quiet belief that they, too, could endure. If this story felt personal, that's because it was meant to be. We are all like that pencil, sharpened by pain, corrected by mistakes, and worn down by time. Yet every cut, every erasure, Every moment of pressure is shaping us into something stronger, wiser, and more real. So the next time life feels uncomfortable, remember this. You are not being destroyed. You are being prepared. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to reflect, share it with someone who needs it, and keep going, because your purpose is still being written.